Modern cars are thought to be the safest they've ever been, and there are statistics to back that up. In fact, in 1970, there were 54,633 deaths due to motor vehicles compared to 2019, where there was roughly 38,800 automotive fatalities. Now, in almost 50 years, many safety devices have been added, including airbags, crumple zones, and most importantly, 3-point seatbelt harnesses, which, are way better than lap belts because you don't get cut in half. Ugh. However, how much help is too much? Modern cars have an extremely huge array of helpful devices, including backup cameras, lane change assist, and even self-parking systems. However, these actually might be doing more harm than good, and they might make you a dumb driver. My name's Julian Sepulveda. Thanks for clicking this video. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, all that jazz. Enjoy the video. Before we get into this video, little disclaimer. I'm not one of those people that are trying to be, raise fears around technology. These technologies are all very beneficial when used correctly. In fact, the biggest problems that I have are the people. So, just saying. People are creatures of habit. Think about your daily routine. When you're not in quarantine like me. You get up at 7 in the morning, brush your teeth, shower, eat some breakfast, and then head to class or work. Then you have your lunch, go back to work, go home, hit the gym, and then head back to sleep at roughly 10:30 at night. Now imagine you wake up late one day and you have to skip the shower. Now the whole day you feel like something is off, and as a result you feel more stressed than usual. Not just because you stink, but because a core part of your morning was completely cut out. Humans are very dependent on things that normally work, and it throws them in a rut when said device doesn't work as it should. Some actually may not even know how to react to the situation. This is the exact problem with a lot of drivers today. Frequently, cars throw in luxury items that you don't really need, and people begin to grow dependent on them. A small example of one of these is GPS, which tells you exactly where you need to go. Before the GPS, many people used road signs and maps to figure out where to go. As a result, they grew very comfortable with their local area. If someone said they lived on, say, Avalon Street, they may know where it was because they'd seen a road sign connected to their daily commute. Personally, I love GPS, but without it, I would be stuck, and as a result, I'm completely unprepared for when it inevitably breaks. I've actually gotten in trouble for coming home late because my GPS just wasn't connecting right. So, you learn your lesson once. This case can also be made by dash readings. Sure, they're useful when they work, but what happens if, say, it glitches out and tells you that everything's fine while your coolant is leaking and your oil's low? Back in the old days, you checked all this manually, and while this information on the dash is useful, you should be manually checking all your fluids in your vehicle if you're going to be spending more than an hour on the road at a time. But when those things break, it's just a mild inconvenience. However, there are certain cars technology that, if they were to break, they could be possibly life-threatening because of how dependent some people are on them. For me, chief among them is lane assist. For those of you that don't know, lane change assist is basically your car saying, "Hey idiot, don't change your lanes now. There's a guy right next to you. If you actually looked around for once instead of looking at your phone, you'd know that, idiot." Now, I feel this technology is most useful in big trucks like, say, Ford's F-250 or, any other lifted trucks.
I ain't got a very big penis.
Show me! They sit higher up, so they may not be able to see a much shorter car like a BMW. Even if they look over their shoulder, that BMW may be out of view. But when they start to change lanes, their truck warns them of the vehicle next to them, and they quickly correct, suffering only a few slurs and brake checks from the BMW driver instead of a full-on collision.
Oh my god.
I gotta love BMW drivers. This is an example of how to use it correctly. It's exactly what it was designed to do. It's supposed to be helpful. But now, let's change the situation. This is Stacy. Stacy's been driving the same car since she got her license, and it came with this super helpful lane change assist function. Now, she had passed her driver's test with flying colors, looking over her shoulder before changing lanes, coming to a complete stop at stop signs, the whole 9 yards. Over time, however, she stopped looking over her shoulder because the lane change assist just told her if anybody was there. So, there was no real point of her doing that. Well, one day, unbeknownst to Stacy, there was like a shortage in her car, and all of a sudden the lane change assist isn't working as it should be. That same day, she gets up and goes to work to support her 20 kids. She turns on her indicator to switch lanes and steers the wheel without looking over her shoulder. What she didn't realize was that there was a car next to her that she couldn't see out of her peripheral vision, and since lane change assist didn't work, she steers right into him. The car spins out and she goes flying off the freeway. Luckily for her, she survived. Unluckily for her, she is now stuck in a wheelchair. Then she falls into a super deep depression, abusing the pain medication she was given. She can't provide for her kids anymore, and although she loves them, her crippling addiction is getting in the way of her caring for them. Eventually, the state takes them away because she's no longer able to handle her children. They're put in a home, but who's going to adopt 20 kids, right? That's just way too much of a responsibility. Until eventually they meet this. I'm getting way too invested in Stacy's backstory. The point is, she should have looked over her shoulder. The same case can be made out of something even as simple as traction control. Sure, it helps you more than anything, but as a result, you won't know how to correct your car if the traction control doesn't work. It doesn't matter if it's almost always working. All it takes is one slip up. Probably one I have the biggest problem with is adaptive cruise and lane keeping technology. This technology is super useful in long drives. After all, the car is controlling the speed and the steering, which, helps you with fatigue. At this point, it's basically a self-driving car. But if you're sitting by yourself, not controlling speed and not even steering, you get bored. And, when you're bored, you start to imagine random scenarios like, what would have happened if you just asked that beautiful girl out in high school? Maybe you were in her league. You don't know. Maybe she secretly loved you and she wanted to get away. Then all of a sudden you burst up and you realize, oh my gosh, I've driven 12 miles without looking at the road. But the car just did it. And that's impressive, but now you're comfortable and you trust the car more. But in that 12 miles, you have no idea what happened. Somebody could have had a blowout and spun right in front of your car. But since you're looking up in the sky, you're not paying attention at all and you just you crash, smacking them at 65 miles per hour and die. The problem is actually just going to get worse with self-driving cars. Like any skill, driving gets better the more you do it. If you get your license and then you immediately go to a self-driving car, you're not getting that experience you need. And then when you have to take over, you're not going to know what to do because you've just depended on this piece of technology the whole time. I want to clarify one more time. I'm not scared of technology. I'm scared of the idiots that rely on it completely. Because, like anything else on a car, it's gonna break eventually. That's just basic wear and tear. Are these technologies extremely beneficial? Yes. If paired with a proper driver that is doing everything they should safety-wise, there's no doubt in my mind that they will save some lives. But it's meant to help the driver stay alert, not replace the driver completely. Stay safe, guys. Thanks again for watching. I really appreciate you guys clicking on this video and tuning in. If you could like, comment, or subscribe, that would be extremely beneficial to me. I'm trying to get my channel off the ground even further. Like I said a couple videos ago, if I reach 5,000 subscribers before the end of 2020, I will go bald. Yep, I'm throwing my dignity out the window. Also, if you want to support the channel, there's a link to Amazon down below. You don't have to buy what's on the link, but as long as you buy anything from that tab in less than 24 hours, I'll get a cut of it. It's stuff like this that keeps the channel going. And I'm gonna be honest, it feels nice to get paid to do what you love, which, is make dumb videos. I hope you guys all stay safe. I hope you guys all have a great day. Peace.